I'm glad you knew.
Huh?
She said Andy's not coming. He had a death in the family last
Oh.
year.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's what?
I said, there's only four of you here, so Travis has
you
to
doing?
actually vote.
Who
How you
did?
doing, buddy?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's how you do it.
All right.
I can tell right now.
Sheila, I sent you an invite.
I saw that, I was like, oh, that's her day.
Oh, and I found out they'll play on that Saturday, the
It's not much, I'll just
26th,
go-
so
Oh, okay.
a week from this coming Saturday.
Oh, yeah, I might be able to do that.
Yeah, they'll play at one at the high school.
But I may need to text you.
Okay.
But I'll text later. But yeah.
Okay.
But I was like, well, we'll talk. We'll catch up. So
Oh, good. That's a violation. Okay.
this is smart to do it on the yellow. He told me about that. So this is doing this yellow, letting him know and then delivering it, so then he doesn't have to
Good. That sounds awesome.
do it kind of ahead.
Oh, did Danny got one? Okay.
Yeah. I'm used to sitting by you. I didn't realize I answered. I keep walking over to talk.
Oh, I
Like,
guess I could
No,
scoot
you sit in your
closer.
spot. That's what's
Oh.
nice you on.
I'm just used to going to my assigned
Right,
seat.
going to your seat.
You could at least be a woman. You could be Mary Smith
Yeah,
instead of.
I'll be Mary. I'll be in here.
I'm Charles.
You Charles? Yeah, you are Charles.
Charles.
I hate to be Bart.
Travis says he's Charles. He's being you. He's in your seat.
He's like, no, you're not.
No, he's saying.
No, you gotta do that 30, 60, 90 wording and stuff I can't read.
Travis, you can be
Okay,
over here
well,
at Mike's
yes.
spot and
Travis.
Charles here.
Yes, ma'am. It's on. We're live.
Okay.
All right. We are live, so we're gonna go on with this. Give you a few minutes to look at the minutes, because we need approval for January.
Motion for approval.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Funding events. Don't have any.
Okay.
Easy enough. This might go quick. Review. Real quick, can I go back? I gave one of these to everybody, Kim and Dan. Sorry, I was off there, Charles.
You worked them together.
I work together. With code enforcement, one to kind of show the process, and y'all correct me, please. So if somebody is on the list, they get this first notice with a check. 7 days later, if they haven't heard, or if Denise or Joe has not heard from them, they'll contact them, whatever, they'll get a second one. And after that second one, and it's in the same visible spot, or it was the first one, after that second one, if we haven't heard from them, that's when we assess them. Is that correct? Okay.
Great.
Since we want to be more transparent on how everything goes, instead of just code enforcement goes out there, this is how they do it. So just FYI.
This one is before they actually are getting the ticket, right? Like they're just
Yes.
notified. So kind of hopefully be more
Before a
preventative, so we
citation.
just get the
Yeah.
money, because it's much better than having the tickets out. How's it working?
Well, we've had a lot of good response. Some of eared into thin air, and we keep trying on those. But I think we've had several, don't you, Jill, that have responded just for viruses.
Good.
Yet have,
That's great.
Awesome.
and we do try to make direct contact. We try to see somebody in person when we go. Sometimes we have to stick something to a door or whatever, but we normally.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Thank you.
It's made a big difference for, then we serve the first and second notice in person versus, face-to-face contact versus getting it in the mail, because it's easy to avoid that way.
Good.
Thank you very much for bringing this. Yes, ma'am. On the financials?
First packet. Balance sheet at the top. Balance in the, well, 2 bank accounts in the CD. Move on to page 3. Says exactly what page 2 does, it just puts it over last year. We are in the black, $21,322.69. Over this month last year, we were $96,039.35 in the black. Out, but more money coming in versus last year at this time. General ledgers just back up to the financials and the account reconciliations. We have a few of the NIL checks that haven't cleared yet. Last year. And several from January 12th, 2022. Questions?
Gotcha.
All right, moving to the paper to page 3. Total collections for January 22 is $450,747.92, which is up over 2021. January of 2021 by $72,236.36.
Great.
And up over December 31, 2020 by $67,736.76. Delinquent collections are pretty low, but keep in mind too, last month on our delinquent list was a lot of mobile vendors. So needless to say, there's not a whole lot of, for the amount of mobile vendors to equal this much, we're doing pretty good. Delinquent collections excluding delinquents are $444,962.36, which is up over last year by $115,717.91, which is 26.01% increase. And the last page is pay simple collections, which totaled $132,220.82, which is 29.33% of collections, total collections. And we're up over last year by 38.1%. One and two are the allocations to the city versus A&P.
Yeah.
The second page is really the page you look at.
You need a motion to approve the financials, is that what?
I do need a motion, I was gonna get a second, but yeah, need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve in a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The delinquent list, while it still looks fairly long, we've actually knocked several people off of this. The ones that are still on here are a lot of the ones that have been on here that we've either not been able to locate or not been able to make contact with, or they just haven't done what they're supposed to be doing. but I don't think there's anybody new on here or new or unexpected. I did send out some last minute Hail Marys last night because this list was a lot longer, and so instead of watching the Super Bowl, I did that. I was Hail Marying last night, threatening their name would come up at the meeting, so it did work.
Yeah.
So our delinquent collections will be up a whole lot for next month.
Still got some old ones on here too.
Yeah. That's probably, Charles,
All the way
the
back
ones
to
past
June.
the ones that are at the 120 and out, those are in your, that ball's in your court, right, at this point?
If there's been a motion to authorize the city attorney's office to pursue other legal action such as a circuit court, I'm not sure if it has been on the 120s.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
That's where we would pursue a cease and desist.
And they're just non-responsive to the 90 days, so I guess all of them have the tickets. So 90 days cease and desist, code enforcement, if any, should 90 days delinquent. So that means that they should at 90 days already cease and desist. So they probably haven't, I guess, or we don't know.
Well, and all these would be operating without a permit too.
Mhm.
The permit's been revoked.
Gotcha.
Hey, Kim, of the ones on this list, do you remember which of the ones were not, y'all were unable to locate?
Ones that I have with me here are ones that we have gotten good mailing addresses for. They're out of town. It's the, food truck type
Right.
things. The ones that we haven't been able to locate, I apologize, I didn't bring those with me. I do have, that's about,
Was El Parazio one of the ones? Joyful Baking, probably. Game Time Crabs, I think was one.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. I think El Parazio, Game Time Crabs, and Joyful Baking. Oh, and Lola's, but I did email him last night.
So you said El Parazio, Game Time Crabs, and what?
Joyful Baking?
Okay.
So Joyful Baking's undetermined, and then Sweet Teas, they're listed as undetermined. Have you?
I don't
seen the
think-
company?
We have mailed, I believe, the second notice now to baking.
Okay.
Hero Gonzalez. Barbecue. Was. What second?
Yes, ma'am. And I found an email address for 825 Catering.
That one was.
They are new to this list. La Estrella, I don't think y'all are able to locate them either. Probably not Roundabout Tropical Snow. Rubus, I did email because they had just made a payment for the current month. I emailed them reminding them they were still delinquent for November. Shooters, I emailed their accountant. Tacos El Paisa, they had made a payment. I reminded them they were still delinquent for November. Here at El Pastrocito, I mean, he made some movement, but he still hasn't contacted me, so he still doesn't know what months he's delinquent on.
And they're not with mommy, have you heard from them? Do they know? Cause I'm in a group me, I think that person's in, I could probably just let them know that they're. Do you know if y'all have talked to them?
Umami wasn't one of the ones that y'all went to, was it?
I didn't, if, Michael Austin, it doesn't,
Yeah, I bet it's because there wasn't one at 30, 60, 90, it's sitting up here in the 150s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that there were several of these people on this list that failed to remit August, and I don't know what the deal was, but I made contact with several of them, and they remedied the situation. And Express, they would have been on the 90-day list now, but they finally made contact, and they had paid 2 months' payments and wrote the checks in the state of Arkansas. And so the bank returned them, and so they issued new checks, and they came through and cleared.
Awesome. And then let's see, Shooters Hookah Lounge, that one hasn't been brought up.
I emailed his accountant last night and got response on it, but haven't gotten payment yet.
Okay.
Okay.
It's an odd, our list is kind of odd in
Yeah.
the fact that there's these big chunks where they've paid for a while, and there's one that got missed, so like, Takira Pastrocito, looks like, but again, it's like a food truck, so maybe, so in June, he's got an outstanding,
I think that one's actually from April.
you
We
saw
just-
room on your sheet?
Right.
Okay.
Thought I would make the print any smaller for y'all.
And that one, was that the one where he got caught up, like, he paid his fines, but then he missed
Right. Yeah, he went to court and paid his fines, right?
gotcha, and then he didn't realize.
Yeah, he
had
was
to
supposed
pay
to
his-
come and talk to me after he left court, and he didn't do it.
Gotcha.
He is still in operation.
Okay.
Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the 30 days proposed assessment notice with the intent to revoke the 60 days and update the proposed amount as the final attempt to revoke, and also the 90-day cease and desist. And I think along with that, I'm hearing that we also need a motion for any of the 120 days and beyond for Charles's office to go ahead and start the process with those.
I'll second that motion.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So Charles, when your office contacts them and they come to court, would it, or could it be a process that they come see Jill to pay off their fines before they pay the court fees? So even though if they pay the court fees, they leave and go to wherever, they're still not paying these fees?
Yes.
Okay.
My primary response to these, except in egregious cases, is to, on the payment of it. And then a lot of times, I'll recommend that the court give them a break on some of the fines.
Yes,
In light of the fact that they've paid their due to the commission. Sometimes I'll still insist on punishment if it's repeated violations.
Okay.
The commission always has an option.
yeah.
On those, especially when there's been recurring problems, I do think there is some value in making them come back, making them appear, number one, in order to having them come back for a review hearing in 90 days. I've
Like what happened with
found that
Jose.
Yeah.
And I'm a criminal prosecutor, but I've found that in prosecuting criminals, and that's not who we're dealing with. but it's human nature. If they know they have to come back in 6 months
Mhm.
and report to you,
And they tend to go ahead.
more likely to
Mhm.
just follow the law. And that's true of restaurant owners or armed robbers. They just, knowing that they're gonna have to come back before they're the decision makers can a lot of times get people to be thinking about, oh my gosh, I need to be good at least.
What's the process? So once they receive the ticket, so you guys will deliver the notice and the ticket, and then at that point, it's the business owner's responsibility to contact your office? Is that where it goes once they receive a ticket?
Once code enforcement issues a citation, and then they turn it into the district court, which then creates a case.
Okay.
At that point, then, yeah, they would contact code enforcement, or they would contact my office.
And then from that contact, when it gets so then you'll be contacted about the case, and then, I was just trying to figure out the whole process, so then, so you wait until they contact you or they show up to court? Is that how do they normally call on it or just show up?
I'm notified when their clean arraignment date is.
Mhm.
When they issue citation, they put a date on there, it's called the clean arraignment date. It's not guilty. I'm notified of that, and I'm notified that it's an advertising and promotion. That's when I know that this one guilty, then we check with Jill. Paid their balance is. Haven't, or they.
In that time frame, is there a time where they talk to you guys, like you, and you're like, hey, I guess my question is, when are they being told if they pay their stuff, then they'll be able to possibly have a lesser ticket, or won't have to proceed in court? How does that communication go down? Where does that happen?
Usually we'll try to contact them.
Okay.
Once the citation is filed.
Okay.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It didn't work at all with your pie.
Right,
They just, and I met with them repeatedly.
right.
They just, I think they still have warrants out for their arrest.
Wow, gotcha. Sorry, we just we know it, y'all make it happen, and we just haven't really ever known how, we just know it happens.
Process.
Yeah, so I was wondering, and then, sorry, Travis, that I'm taking over.
Oh, it's okay.
Getting I'm such a questioner, guys, I do this all the time.
Yeah, I believe we had a case recently, that case that we were talking about last, Charles. Did they get pulled over?
Oh, yeah, we're not. Oh, so they got pulled over and
Yeah. I think the one for, I'm saying the restaurant's name, but anyway, the one that, from 2018 and 19, they're current. The restaurant has new owners. That's for Ibarra.
It's not ringing a bell.
Okay.
And then on y'all's end, y'all let them know when it's served, if you actually give it to the person, or if you're, like on the citations, when you're delivering the citations, I would assume sometimes the person's name that's on the citation isn't there. Does anybody know who it goes to, or do y'all just know, like, it's delivered? Because
We can, sometimes they're there, and they're there to sign. If they are not there, it is still in their name, and if a manager or someone wants to sign, I'm responsible.
Citation.
And sometimes, and that's okay.
Right.
We put no signature on there, but that, it has been duly served, then we turn in a copy of it to the.
That's what happened with your pie when that girl
It's
came.
a matter of, we're here, we need to give a citation, and they'll call and get that owner on the phone.
Right,
You know,
right.
and so they'll know what we're there for and what's being left for them.
Okay.
Every situation is
It's
just
a little
about
different.
yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
We have several, actually brought the new permits this month. We we have 4 new Airbnb places. I didn't bring those permits for whatever reason, but other than that, we have Simpkins Muddy's Soup Barbecue, it's a food truck. On the Hook Fish and Chips is a one-time event that's coming. Casey's gas station on Dayport, and Maria Bonita. I'm not sure what that is.
Is that the forms they fill out? So can I look at them? I won't ask any questions, I'll just read.
No comment. No comment. All right. You ready?
My turn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Jill, could you send those to me too?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is just kind of a side note. I don't think that those forms ask for an email address on them. Is that correct?
Those?
Uh-huh.
Yep, there's an email.
They do? Okay. I always need accurate email addresses, as I know you do
Right.
too, so,
Yes, I'll send those to you.
okay. I think I mentioned in our last meeting that I was going to attend the AACVB meeting, which is Arkansas Association of CVBs, so I did that the week after our last meeting. It was a half-day meeting in Little Rock. I was previously the secretary of that board. I'm now the treasurer. So we met, we discussed legislative issues and needs pertaining to tourism, got to meet the new Hospitality Association CEO, and planned for our next meeting. So I had a keynote speaker talking about DEI in tourism. So it was a good meeting. I also had a Heart of Arkansas board meeting, and we discussed the budget and how that will be spent. So I don't know if I've ever told y'all or not, but advertising that I purchase on behalf of the CVB, there are some instances where we purchase it through Heart of Arkansas for a discounted rate to us, and then state tourism reimburses Heart of Arkansas for a portion of that, and that money is used then to fund festivals and events in, Central Arkansas. So it's not costing us anything else. We just have to put a little disclaimer at the bottom that says it was paid for in part by Heart of Arkansas dollars. So that's what that means. We got just a random phone call from a podcast called Maine and Mulberry Destinations, and they want to feature Conway on their podcast. So I'm going to do an interview with them this Thursday, and they're based out of Collierville, Tennessee, and this podcast is designed to let people know about destinations within driving distance of Collierville. So it'll only be 5 minutes. They'll want to know 3 interesting things about Conway. So I've kind of brainstormed a few things that we'll talk about, and then we'll share that on our social media once they post it. Because it'll also be on their YouTube. Tomorrow, Travis Napper, who is the Arkansas Tourism Director, is coming to Conway to meet with me. He started his job in, I think, March of 2020. And he's from Louisiana. Maybe you should meet him, Travis from Louisiana.
Listen
He
very
is.
clearly. Gotta slow down.
So he is coming to Conway because he hasn't really been here before, and he's still learning the state. So we're going to go to the new museum at Hendricks, the art museum. We'll do a driving tour. We'll go to lunch. There's a chance that Secretary Hurst could come with him. So hopefully that will kind of up our profile amongst state tourism, because they do a lot of advertising. And if they mentioned us even once, that would be worth it. I also have some ads that have come out recently. This was a Arkansas spotlight in a magazine called Sports Events Media Group, and they used an image of our tennis courts as the front image. Steve, you gave me that. And a little blurb about it, and then also talked about us. So, and I didn't pay for that. had to add in sports destination management, and we were also listed with contact information on another page in the magazine. This is an ad in Little Rock Metro Guide, which they do travel sections, lots of pictures about us as a 2-page spread. And then in Pulse of Conway, we had an ad talking about meetings in the January issue, and then we got a free ad in the February issue. So those are just some recent ads that went out. I'm working with another website on gathering all the information for a new campaign that we're going to start. So next month I'll have more information on that. So,
And Rachel, thank you for your report that you attached too. That was very informative. Yes, good information.
good. Thank you.
When's the, is it the governor?
Governor's Conference. So that's the state tourism conference. The governor will come and speak. It's CVBs from all across the state as well as attractions. So anything you can really think of that is considered a tourist attraction. There's like a big cat sanctuary in north central Arkansas. Hotel owners, like museum people. So they're all at this conference, and there'll be breakout sessions and anyway, lots of state tourism puts it on. So we'll have another AACVB meeting while we're there as well. So, and that's in a couple of weeks, and I'm not staying in a hotel, so save you a little money.
Thank you,
Steve-O,
Rachel.
what you got?
It'll be it's kind of slow out at the expo, but Ray Lanas is coming in for about 3 weeks. This past weekend, we had the homeschool state basketball tournament, and coming up, we've got a volleyball tournament this weekend, and then March 1st starts our baseball tournaments. So it'll stay pretty busy for the next 3 months after that, so that's all I have.
I see something, trying to find my pack. Was there an arm wrestling event out there?
There was a wrestling event.
Wrestling event. Oh, that should have been.
CVC.
Bring it back to '80s.
Every day at lunch.
That's right. Especially in Louisiana. Every day at lunch. Thank you. All right, on to new business. It's going pretty quick. You got
I think we
No
need
more
to, I think we need to approve, officially approve the, Jill's, are we doing that this meeting?
budget,
Okay,
It's in the budget.
budget,
okay, good.
2022.
Got it, excited.
Yeah.
Is that all right? We
Right.
don't have that in front of us, do we?
No, we don't.
We don't have it in front of us,
No, we don't.
but
We don't have the budget in front of us?
we know what it is.
Yeah.
We don't have it in front of us.
I know.
That's gonna be kind of right to approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, without having it.
Sorry. Go over the funding application.
Do that.
Well, I sent it to you all in your email, and I don't have it printed out, so I apologize for that, but I did pull it up in my email, so I can look at it, and I know that I did send it to all of you. The Conway Athletic Department is asking for $1,500 to go toward the 6A state soccer tournament. It's May 12th through 14th. We funded this event in 2018 for $3,000, so I feel like asking for $1,500 is nice of
Yeah,
them. It's
right.
better. And this could easily come out of the event incentive fund where, I mean, this type of thing that's what it's intended for. So this is similar to what you agreed to fund last meeting for Greenbrier for their state tournament. So it'll be 2 nights of hotel stays. I believe half of the teams that are coming will all be from Northwest Arkansas, so they'll have to stay in a hotel. So. Okay,
Questions? Thank you very much.
the question, okay.
All right.
I'll
I'll let them know.
Hey, just a question.
Yeah.
How are we tracking Airbnbs? So
We're
far,
trying
I
to
think we
figure
have
that
like,
out. That's, yeah, that's,
Best that we can.
we have so far 4 applications.
The new applications or total?
those are the first ones, right?
Or the new, right?
Or new?
The new ones, yeah, because I think stuff passed last month or so for the tax with Airbnb. I think city passed that Airbnb tax stuff, right?
Yes.
Yes.
How are we tracking it?
How we finding out, like, hey, there are 5 houses or 50 houses?
So Rachel's made contact with a couple of technology services that will do that. And, you know, we can go online and we can kind of give it an audit. That responsibility really kind of rests on the person collecting that. And I think the main focus of city ordinance, safety measures, and point of contact. There's a little bit of a question about where this body probably gets involved in hunting down people. I mean, it's their job to fill out that notification and turn it in with the city and be compliant on everything. Platforms are not, it wouldn't be a case of it paying for itself with the collections off of an Airbnb, almost certainly.
Correct, and I know that in the past, VRBO has been helpful to commission CVBs in collecting that from their owners, but from what I've heard, they are not that helpful with doing it anymore. So to answer your question, it's really not being tracked. So I think without us making some changes or paying for some kind of expensive data at this point, I don't know what the move forward is.
I mean, it just passed last month.
Yeah.
We might learn as we go forward. Same thing with the third-party delivery guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're paid.
There's
If they're
one
paying.
paying regularly, which one
Two
pays
that
it?
pay regularly, DoorDash and Bite Squad.
And then Uber Eats, I don't know which one, but Uber Eats took Little Rock to A&P to court, and I think that it didn't go great. So, right, am I saying that right?
Yeah, I haven't received
And
a
then-
payment from Omni or Uber Eats, and I don't know what other ones are here.
And, so yeah, we're kind of
Gray area in the
standstill on
middle.
that. And then, Jill, how many Airbnb permits do you have right now?
Or
So the 4, and the first ones you got, I wish, we maybe ask Denise kind of how that went about, because it's interesting that we just now got 4. Maybe they watched our,
Well, and the
Our
other thing
show.
is, well, you're seeing more and more people who are
Yeah.
putting stuff on Facebook
It
about
just
their
first month or so,
Airbnbs
so
as well.
Maybe 6 months from now, we might
Yeah.
have some answers, or the
Mhm.
third party
Yeah.
might say, hey, these are the houses, or
I mean,
these
I
are
would-
rentals.
You got an insurance man up there, and I would think if you're failing to comply, you know, if you're doing business on those platforms and you're not complying with your local ordinances for problems, and you're maybe doing that, operating an Airbnb from a
Yeah.
liability standpoint. We're gonna focus on just getting as many people here renting them as possible, so.
JK, Danny.
And we turn the hotel into Airbnb.
It's what it is.
yeah.
You can clean those rooms for less than $150, I think.
I can manage now.
Do you have any old business to talk about? Why?
I don't know if this would be considered old business or not, but I know the A&P members had kind of talked to and, agreed, I guess, in a consensus, if the, bond passed. So of course, the bond did pass, so I would assume probably at our next meeting, we will need to vote in formality for those funds to be used, because it was contingent more or less on whether or not that passed. So we might want to go ahead and put that on our agenda for the next meeting.
Sounds good. Old new business, I like it.
Old new business, yep,
Just a week old.
yeah, week old tomorrow. And I will make sure, that's on the mayor's calendar as well.
Jill, do you think you can get a form that Denise has, since we're waiting for the Airbnb, to see what she's asking for
I
that?
was just trying to open, I think it's the exact same as these.
Like a regular.
For the
application.
Airbnbs.
Okay.
I mean, because it is for hotels, just like it is for restaurants. I mean,
What sole proprietorship, yeah, all that stuff. I swear. We all just have to stay at a Conway Airbnb and make friends. God, I'm leaving this form with you on the desk.
Right, yeah.
Well, because if you've been doing it for so long, you don't know. That's what I'm wondering, how they're finding out, you know? Do you know anything about that, Danny, how they're finding out? Like, is the city notifying the Airbnbs or Sheila that have already been, it's like, are they receiving a letter that says this was passed at city council and you must do, you know, how are they
It
finding
would
out?
probably be only if the city could identify those Airbnbs.
Yeah.
That's the big thing,
they
yeah.
wouldn't have any way of knowing who
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah,
Sometimes you can't get the address
Right.
until you're,
Actually booked it.
yeah, mm-hmm,
That's a little tricky right now.
yeah, and that's what I was saying,
It's
I've been
hard to
noticing more and
go back and
more on
figure out how many-
Facebook that people are saying they have an Airbnb. So that may be at least one source to be able to check, but as far as the city sending the letters, until we've identified, we can't, send
There's no
those.
way of knowing, yeah. unless you
Right.
make it.
Mm-hmm,
Denise is coming down to answer y'all's questions.
And then the
Budget's
Airbnb
trying to
is
get
just a
over here.
platform.
yeah,
So,
mm-hmm,
Unless Airbnb start shooting the email, like, hey, your property's online, you have to.
that's what I'm wondering,
pay
if
the
there's
tax.
somebody within Airbnb that you could say, hey, all these folks using your platform are non-compliant.
They do collect the tax, I know.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
don't know if they collect ENP.
Right.
Because when you make a reservation, they do collect the tax part.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, so you've got, I wonder if you could just ask to speak to somebody in the tax collection part of Airbnb? You put that on your,
She is, ask her all the questions you want.
welcome! You're like, I feel sad.
I was watching upstairs, but I couldn't hear very much.
Oh,
Especially people they're talking out here.
oh, sorry.
That's just Steve playing videos over there.
Yeah.
Did y'all have
Yeah, we were trying to figure out with the Airbnb, you got 4 new ones, if they had maybe mentioned, how they found out they needed to pay the Airbnb, the AP tax.
They did not, no, I don't think anybody has said, they just heard.
They just heard, and
Heard,
then, is the form the same, or is there, what are the,
Yeah,
same, isn't it?
we use the same AMP form for everybody.
for everybody?
Airbnb, food trucks, restaurants, hotels.
all of that.
Yeah, we just get them to fill out what applies to them. Not everything will apply to everybody, so.
And then, I was thinking, we were talking about how Airbnb has where they collect tax, and maybe we could try to find, if you call Airbnb and talk to the tax collection group and let them know that anybody in this city is required to pay, you know, if any.
I did talk to somebody about that. I think it was one of the Airbnb owners, actually, was talking about that. And I think, my understanding was that it was something that the individual Airbnb set up with Airbnb. I may be wrong. That's kind of what I thought he was saying. But you're saying you think it's something that,
Well, I think maybe that you could talk to somebody that deals with tax collection in Airbnb and just say, we passed this ordinance, we're trying to figure out, we noticed that y'all collect taxes.
And I
This
think
tax
that
needs to
was-
be collected and they need to be notified, maybe.
yeah, okay, we could look into
I
that.
don't know.
And I think that was just Airbnb that did it. I don't think VRBO does that. I'm not sure. I'm not really clear on how they collect those taxes and how it's remitted, if they remit it or if,
I know for VRBO, just on
It's
in
all
a
new.
personal experience, they remit, we have a VRBO and it's out of state, but they actually do remit the tax for us. Like, we don't have to deal with any of the,
so when
they
somebody,
collect and send it off for us, yeah.
so when somebody books the Airbnb, it's automatically collected in
Mhm.
their cost.
And sent off, like, and it never crosses to the owner, like they do, yeah.
Are you also
But they-
advertising on VRBO? Do you actually
Yeah.
have, do they do that too?
That's VRBO. I don't know about Airbnb. It's VRBO.
Oh, okay, see, I was told Airbnb did it, I didn't know about VRBO.
Yeah, and I'll look into it more. 'Cause
Okay.
Now I'm like, are they paying our taxes?
Mm.
Like, they're
Exactly.
collecting our taxes and we don't
The
get
more you start
money.
thinking and talking like that.
Yeah. That's really all I know about it. It's all new, so,
Yeah.
you know, I'm learning the process too and what all's out there, because I don't know anything about short-term rentals, so I'm learning too. Is that it?
And then what are they required to submit monthly? Like, they just fill out the same form and what they collected,
That's all we have, it's just the same A&P form.
just a single sheet?
Or they could set up an account online, just like everybody else can.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, they get the same like explanation about what the A&P process is, just like all the restaurants do. So I try to explain it to them. And I've been able to talk. I mean, there's not any of those that I haven't actually talked with.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of feeling their way along too. It's all new to all of us, so we're learning. But they're asking a lot of questions too.
If they are paying the tax already, they will not pay extra tax on their revenue. So it will be hard for us to track it too, like, hey,
Mhm.
they made $100 a day or 500 a day a week, you won't be able to track it. Unless Airbnb or a third-party guy says it's like, hey, like a whole market, like, hey, we have 40 rentals, and they notify, like, hey, your 40 rentals, tax will be due, you pay it, or we collect again from you and then we pay it. Like Expedia and all, they started with the hotels like that. So you make a reservation on Expedia, they take their cut, but they make us pay the taxes. But now, Expedia pays the taxes from their revenue. Hotel don't pay. Hotel only pays the local. And they send us, Expedia sent us the letter to all the hotels in the state, like, hey, your taxes will be collected, state tax they will pay, A&P is our responsibility.
Do you know if they separate it? Because something that, the reason we didn't move forward with DoorDash is, personally again, is because when they're paying the state tax and the city tax, they're not showing the breakdown. So I can't prove that they paid my tax. Do you know if they're doing that?
We can't either.
Yeah,
Right now,
it's-
what we're seeing is, let's say $100 room came in, so 100 plus tax, 10%, so 110 they collected. They take that 20% or so XYZ, whatever revenue stays with us, we don't pay tax on that period. They take that chunk and then from
And
their
they're
chunk, they
sending
pay the tax. So we don't know if they're
And
paying
you just
or
got
not.
your letter, you're like, they said they paid it. They said.
Because the state passed that law, I think last year or so, about that all the third party or online engines has to pay taxes. And they started paying the 6.5% state tax directly.
Are they doing it at the city level as well?
City level hotel pays for it.
The hotel?
Each state, each county, let's say not every county has A&P,
Mhm.
so whichever has it, they left it on hotel. So when the rate comes in, the 2%, we collect directly from the guest.
Gotcha.
And we don't give it to them.
That was our whole discussion last time, is state law just says that you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
So like, you can say it's been done, and they can say, yeah, we did it. And if they go, well, show us. Well, they did it. They ain't, I don't know that. I know you.
DoorDash did start sending a breakdown, but I think the person that I was contacting there previously that finally sent the breakdown, I don't think he works there anymore, so.
Well, that's exciting though. Maybe I will do DoorDash one day. Because, well, you know, if they can't prove they're paying our taxes, their back end was tough.
The state audits them.
Yeah, and they come in,
Goes for it.
and we're like, well, yeah, we omitted this tax because it's already being paid, and we don't have any breakdown to show it. It doesn't feel good. All right, how we looking?
Budget's coming.
Budget's
Also, it took me seeing Denise to remind me of this, but we did a collective group over here. We did track down Layla's, and they are now permitted and current and clean slate again.
Good.
That was,
Oh, they're
that
new
was a
squad.
project, and it was a little long time coming. Minuteman, we did, code enforcement sent out a notice to Minuteman, and he did call, and he was confused about it all, and we worked through it, and super good guy, and I made him promise he had to come back to Conway again, because I haven't had a Minuteman burger before.
Oh.
He said he would.
Mhm.
Have to tell him he needs to come on a meeting day.
Yeah.
But they're current, and they were delinquent from back in 21, for most of 21.
Have you been, oh,
Did y'all have any more questions about short-term? I'm James Walden, planning director. I had written the ordinance if you wanted any clarification.
well, we were just kind of trying to figure out how people are finding out about it.
So, we had initially contacted, there's a company called GovOS, which in discussion that we had talked to them, this is like little Christmas lights.
That's what I was thinking.
But GovOS, they gave us a quote for about $11,000 to $16,000. They initially identified about 70 different short-term rentals within the city. They are basically a management system that reaches out to the platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, several, 3 or 4 others, and they sort of manage compliance. So they will reach out to them, make sure that they're going through the city ordinance process, and doing those proper steps, making sure that they get their A&P license, all of those A&P permit, those sorts of things. But we had gotten a quote. One was for about $11,000. Another was $16,000, and that would include a hotline where basically individuals could call for compliance issues. So if there was a problem, but so they estimated that it's probably the amount of revenue that we would likely see the city or the A&P commission, I guess one and the same, was about $50,000 to $70,000 a year. So it's a sort of an annual license. But certainly, if y'all wanted information on that, give it to you if you want to pursue it. So
The 11 grand is yearly.
it's a yearly fee, but they're pretty aggressive about compliance.
Did he give you the number that it might bring 50 to 70?
Yeah, so they identified that there's likely, I think around 70, it varies between season to season in terms of the number of Airbnbs and short-term rentals. So they just pulling numbers from different platforms that they'd gotten information on. They were able to provide us that information.
And are y'all using it? Is that the plan, or y'all just had them give you the initial info?
We had gotten some initial info. I think when there was a realization that there would be none of the revenue, it'd be coming from a city department, and the revenue would be going to the A&P commission. We didn't pursue it at that time.
Okay.
So, but certainly we would be more than happy for y'all to pay for a license of that, because I think it would have a net effect of providing, it would more than pay for itself, in essence.
So, right at this point, nobody's been like mailed anything that tells them about the new anything that's passed, because we don't
But-
actually have addresses.
Yeah, we don't actually have addresses. So most of the platforms, we've talked to a few platforms, most of these platforms can identify down to a small geographic area. The Gov OS system, basically, some type of proprietary system that they use, they're able to identify addresses. So, and Rogers is a fairly new client of theirs. Little Rock CVB also uses it. So, it's been called Muni Revs or Lodging Revs, and then they recently got purchased by GovOS. So,
Might table that to next time and visit about that, because if it costs 11, AMP is gonna get paid this, which in turn writes a check to the city.
Right.
So the city's gonna get their money back.
Right.
We just gotta see if it's gonna be worth the,
Right.
Yeah.
if I'm understanding the way this still in
Right,
place.
it might be something how we do with the accounting, where you split costs, because, I mean, this, if you look at how it works, the city's getting a lot of, like, in terms of I guess in terms of
from a
all
hotel,
of the hotel would fall, if it's NMP, it falls to, Travis, it does, all the hotel, so it'll fall under the hotel, it does all fall to us, where restaurants,
It's just a restaurant?
yeah, they get
Okay.
restaurants.
I'm sorry. Misspoke.
And, cause do they get any of the hotel percentage? The city?
no.
No, I didn't think you did.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so, I got you, that makes sense. I bet you're looking like, hold on a second.
So-
I know someone else who needs to pay for that. That's,
If y'all
thank
would
you.
like, between now and our next meeting, I'll reach out to you and have you send me that information.
Sure.
And then I'll also ask my contacts in Rogers and Little Rock
That'd be
about
great.
their experience with it. And I can,
Yeah.
we can talk about it next month.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hospital
Thank
just
you.
passed the
All right.
same stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
so
see
hospital
what
Thank
does
you.
the same stuff
Awesome.
in Oregon.
Oh, this is it, this one page?
Yep, just one page.
Yeah, they didn't break that down either. I don't,
Amount paid by city for addition.
this negative number should be.
So this,
Hold on.
well, yeah, we're gonna have to not approve this.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, cause this accounting on illegal, it needs to be separated,
right.
and
Yeah.
then,
And also the contract amount for the check
Yes.
is not correct.
yeah,
So-
that's not good.
But I would say on the revenue, you know, y'all need to make kind of a strategic decision about what you think is gonna happen revenue-wise, but
Didn't we say to go with the,
with whatever 2021's collections were.
yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that's what we
So that's a
decided
bigger
last
number.
week. Yeah,
which
Yeah.
helps.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's, the last meeting, Trav, we agreed to go with the 2021 for the revenue, because we feel like, you know, it'll be that or more. Yeah. Yeah, so there,
That's good.
is there any other changes?
So we'll approve it in our next meeting then?
Well, in All-Star Games, is
I
that
can have
on
them
for one
print
more
the correct
year?
numbers and bring them over.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yes.
say.
Okay. And then,
Let's go ahead and do that. So we can knock this one out, if you don't mind. You need to step away and call.
Yeah, I probably do.
She's gonna call over there and get it corrected and bring it over so we can take care of it this meeting, so we don't have to keep. Be done with the first quarter, still just approving, so give us a little time if you don't mind.
you know, I can find stuff to talk
I know.
about, Travis.
I know.
Oh,
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thank
oh,
you, sorry.
Well, how many hours are y'all spending doing this? No, seriously, this is good information. So how much time did this add to y'all having to do it this way?
Well, on the days that we start them and then again on the Saturday recheck, you know, it depends on how long, it depends on how long the list is, of course.
Right.
But like the first day that we started, we had 3 of us on the streets and it took us almost all day.
Wow.
Because, you know, like I said, a lot of places were right where they were supposed to be, a lot of places there was nothing there or no one there, and we would have to do a lot of zigzagging and going back. So you can, I think that we're gonna get it fine tuned, and we'll probably end up just having to spend a couple hours each on it when we go out to do these. It really just depends on the length of the list.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I looked, when I started thinking about this, and you're doing the first and then the second notice, and then then you still have to give citations out,
We do.
correct? Yeah.
Are
But-
you trying to give us instructions?
Kim, if y'all are gonna talk
Oh.
about something, Kim, will you come up to
Yeah.
the lectern?
We're more done now.
Well, okay, that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
If you're done now, I just,
Yeah.
I can't hear any of it.
I do apologize.
You're all right,
I do
all right.
apologize.
Thank y'all.
But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Do you have any more questions for me?
No, yeah.
No, Kim, you're
Okay.
good.
Spencer, is sorry that he couldn't be here. He got pulled in a million directions today, and he's sorry he couldn't be here, so I kind of subbed.
Well, thank you, and thank you for doing this. I do think this will stand out, like as the restaurant owner and business owner,
Yeah.
like if I'm not there and I walk in and see
You'll
something
see it.
yellow or
Yeah,
pink, I'm
you'll
like, oh,
see it.
what guys, what is this?
And I wanted you guys to put, have eyes on what we were out there passing out. It helps a lot to know, instead of
Right.
just they're doing it,
Yeah, no, and we, thank you so
Okay.
much, and hopefully this will help when they'll start getting on the habit and
Right.
used to doing it.
They won't want to see us coming each time. so.
I'm gonna look into a text, I was gonna tell you this, who knows how much it costs, but something where I was telling, maybe, I was talking to somebody, Spencer, somebody, it would be, I think, having a text thing where you can, Jill could send a text automation to the owners or the business owners, because a lot of times, email, paper stuff, and if we could do that somewhere on the front end, like they could opt in for a text message,
Mhm.
then,
That's a good
so I'm
idea
gonna
as
see
well.
how much that costs. It's just trying to work in some ideas on the front end to where y'all can get a hold of them easier and
Right.
find them. Because I know as a business owner, like, my life is crazy and,
Yeah.
and I'm missing, I get hundreds of emails, and so doing this, I think, really helps, but that's also feet on the ground. And if we had something like where you could shoot a text and it says, hey, then you missed your taxes, FYI, you know what I mean? Then
Well-
it puts it in front, because I like to think that most of these folks aren't intentionally not paying, they just, it's not getting to them. They think it's getting done by their accountant, they think it's getting done by their manager forgets to pay.
Yeah, a lot of times it is an honest just mistake, or they just don't understand, or whatever.
Are you finding that they're not understanding the A&P when y'all are out there?
Well, sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. And a lot of times, there's a little bit of a language barrier.
Say,
So, Officer Gann's gonna be able to help us out with that, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
Make some YouTube videos. There you You got a good face. I think you would.
I'll try to remember the microphone next time, sorry about that.
Well, look, I'm leaning so far back. I don't like having that stuff in my face. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
And
You're welcome.
we'll keep trying to brainstorm so it doesn't take up so much time for you guys.
happy Valentine's, by the way.
Well,
Yes.
thank you, Happy Valentine's.
That's what this
All of
red
you.
is actually. It's
Right.
red.
Thank you.
Yep, Sheila, this is new. They just started doing this. Like, was it last month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, we like that's what I said.
Yeah.
When he told me he did it, I was like,
I just to bring the attention.
yeah,
It's hard when you go to a business with the yellow page, the notice,
yeah.
the price will be on there too.
Oh, anytime I see yellow and pink or Department of, like, it's all, what, call me. Steve, you can probably sneak out here too. I mean, we're just waiting on, unless you want more money.
So that's your pretty day,
Should probably go check some fields or something.
with the window down?
Turf management, we call it turf management.
There you go.
Strolling around.
On page.
Hey, the
Oh.
thing that we, Sheila,
She's-
the thing that we passed, what's the next step?
We have to wait 45 days for bond counsel. They're projecting that the construction, will have to get a construction manager because of the size of the project, and they're saying 18 months is pretty much what we're looking at as far as from start to completion.
If they can get everything in, you know how that.
Material,
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
if they can,
get
yeah.
that stated stuff straight.
Mm-hmm.
So
doing some quick math here.
Forecast.
Just for round numbers, looks like 950 would be
Safe.
a safe round number. If you're rounding to the nearest 950 is a good number for that top line tax revenue. Does feel better knowing that,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
knowing that the first month down is a good one.
Yeah.
Something we're working on, I don't know that most people, we're working on an article and some research, and y'all may be aware of this, but the amount of direct cash payments to college students as part of, all of the CARES relief, it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, my son doesn't need a job anymore, he just keeps getting checks for no reason.
And is he-
we were just talking
And is he saving all of that?
Yeah, he is, he opened a Roth IRA, yeah,
Yeah.
on his own.
I would
He's
wager
good.
he's the
He's not the
exception.
normal, yeah, yeah, he calls his mother and goes, pull that 400 that I owe you out of my account, would you? Something's wrong with that kid, it's a good thing though. But it is, he got $500 in the mail, literally, for no, like, he had no idea it was coming, and I'm like, you got a check for something, and it was just some sort of CARES Act,
Probably, yeah.
something that he didn't, you know, and he's like, I'm gonna decrease my shifts at work. I was like, he works for, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're the reliable one that I can make sure is there.
Yeah, I know where you live. On the bonds, will they have somebody that kind of explains the interest rates and all that? Because wasn't the interest rate gonna go down a little bit for extending the bond or something like that?
We'd have to I could get, bond counsel, yeah.
Because I think it'd be cool for us to know that kind of stuff, because we've always known there's bonds out, but we don't really know the info on them, you know, since it's all kind of the city stuff.
Mhm.
And then, are we approving that, or are we approving, because that can just be done, is it just the 400 for the extra,
It's for the operational
the
cost.
operational
Mhm.
costs?
After the thing is open, yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
after the thing is
Yeah.
open, you contribute the operation side.
Yeah,
Yeah, and see, we'll still have
and that'll still
a
be coming out
whole,
of the city.
that'll
budget.
still be coming in before that project is finished too, so.
Yeah.
Do you have anything we need to tell tourism?
There's a hospitality. We're still dealing with Miss Stacy and all, to see if they can do a second
So-
round.
Yeah,
I will say, I didn't specifically mention this earlier, but during that CVB meeting, it was discussed that the state is still getting some allocation of CARES Act funds that will go towards tourism. And so they hope that that will all be paid out in July, but they're still waiting to hear how much that's gonna be, but it should be fairly significant.
Hopefully there's something before the election comes in.
Yeah, so they said they were hoping for July, so I'll talk to Travis about that tomorrow
Just
too.
from a hotel side, we are still talking to Stacy Hurd and all. I think
Mhm.
they have their committee. So we'll
Mm-hmm,
see how they go for that. For 6 months, we are hearing they are doing it. Hopefully they say it's done,
sure.
like a first round.
so y'all will be able to get more hotels are gonna be able to get more money?
Right now, they can go for individual. That's what the answer gave us last time too. Has to go for the hospitality. So it's gonna go throughout.
Like abroad?
Yeah.
And then how is that decided? Do they have any way they're deciding on how they're gonna do that?
I'm sure there's a committee.
Yeah,
They
there's,
do have that, they've had that economic relief task force.
It's
or
coming.
whatever, It's been less visible, but they're gonna have to figure out. And they're still kind of rewriting all the rules. I mean, even, you know, the city's got money, the county's got money for infrastructure and all this. And so we were just talking in DC about, well, let's give you the flexibility to use it in this way or that, because there's just so much that's sitting out there.
expires, if the state can use it, that'll be good.
It's got, oh, it's, okay.
It's coming. Office booth.
All right.
Are we good on all the other numbers, event incentives, good?
No, those, I think Travis sent them to her.
Okay.
I sent you this.
show.
Look,
Why can we not
this
just
chair was
abandon
ready to
mission
go out
here?
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You did what, 20 minutes ago? Tell me a smart. Okay, I'm trying to find it over now.
I got my kids picked up, Punter's gone, I don't know, I might just keep hanging out. I'm here. Go get me food and a drink.
Hope I had to make sure everybody has their COVID stuff by this afternoon.
Did you say COVID? Did y'all get your policy together? You know, I made my policy and then they changed everything and then I was like, how's your hotel coming along?
It's good. Yeah, just too much work.
Stuff coming in, you getting like everything done?
Whitehall is a long drive. Go all the way there.
Yeah.
It's coming along good.
How often are you having to go?
Almost every day right now.
Oh,
We have 4 more months. Hopefully we can beat July. You're not gonna make it,
huh?
but June, July, hopefully we open up.
That'd be good months to be able to open to get it going. Yeah.
You're not gonna make it, I know.
You're right. Every time, what?
It's a lot of still supply demand stuff. It's so short. The stuff that we ordered 6 months ago is still not in.
It's bad. Hey, my kiddo has a soccer shirt that is gonna take 10 months to get in, so yeah. They didn't even offer to refund me the money, they just put that it would be in like December, I'm like, what? But that's how it is with the supply stuff, they're like, well, listen, I'd love to move forward on this, but until this happens, and I can't get this until this, I don't know. I mean, it's awesome that you're able to build and do this stuff during this time, but it's probably also just a
We
headache.
thought we would pause.
Mhm.
Next pause.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Take it.
I gotta go.
Take it.
Exactly. What were you saying?
I was about to table this the next month, unfortunately, but.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's walking out the door to get the updated budget or not.
Might just be one. Let's go. And then go.
We all have those days.
Yeah,
We all have those days.
I had one.
Yep.
How'd y'all like that Super Bowl halftime show? Hey, everybody, that was the best.
It was awesome.
Travis got to see my dance moves. It was good.
Something does not need to be said out loud, Esther.
Oh, well, you know, we're all waiting for the budget. If someone's sitting there, they're just waiting for that budget. It took us back.
I'll be here.
Took us back. So we haven't.
Huh?
Did you talk about this?
We did.
Okay.
We did talk about that, approve the 1,500, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have to add that to my notes since it's not being recorded, because I had my phone up there.
I should have brought us all
Sorry.
chocolates. If there would have been, I thought there were gonna be more people. I didn't have enough to share.
So are we gonna do
restaurants.
next meeting or?
They're on their way.
Okay.
They're running across the street.
She's pregnant, so I don't really know.
Okay,
She
she's
asked that might
power
happen, but-
walking.
Do you want me to open the back door? Would that be easier?
I can
Okay.
follow
That's a
it.
good idea.
And I can let you back.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
like, they're about to
Travis.
get locked out, Sheila.
That'll. Just bring that there and it'll let you back through this door. This one? Yes, that'll open this door. Now, when you get ready to come back in this door.
Jeremy said he's skiing. Is he skiing this, yeah. He planned it pretty good for just the holidays away.
It hasn't come up in text messages that he's skiing, but then in social media.
Facebook says.
Social media, he's skiing.
We talked, what were we texting about?
I try not to cry.
COVID, we were texting about something that just work stuff, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna miss the next meeting, I'm gonna be skiing. I was like, come on. Oh, sorry. Yep, oh, hey. My bad. I turned it off to say that.
That helps.
Well, but it's still low.
Um,
That was easier, huh?
We're gonna have to get a Jamie, look here, I need you to do, since you're over there,
Thank you.
give me your eyes just for a second, I'm gonna be.
Are the correct changes made?
About to find out.
Check it.
That's my handed in.
As I hand these out, if you don't mind looking over these quickly.
Oh, yes, let's see.
That looks a lot different.
Yeah. Well, cause that's based on 2021,
Right.
and then 41.
That was our portion of the, A&P portion of the collections.
Okay, 45, 206, 820. Jamie, is that right, the 206, 820?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
so I make a motion.
In the past, we have always worked from event incentive as $80,000, not 50.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not, okay.
So if we could, and funding requests approved is typically 148. Well, it has been most recently, that way you'll have some,
Right.
That's what Travis said, yes.
And 80, and then that'll put us,
What'd you say, event incentive, Rachel?
80.
Okay.
Obviously, that doesn't all get spent every year, so.
Right, yeah.
I also think y'all had talked about that special projects line item.
cause that was gonna be for the wayfinding, so we could probably drop that to
Pull that
200.
down by the balance.
Huh?
You could just pull that down by the balance of these increases and then.
Because, yeah, you don't have to spend that money anymore, so.
Yeah,
That's
cause that
true.
was earmarked for the wayfinding.
Yeah.
And if you need any money for special projects, then there's always
Right.
reserves for you to go back into.
Oh, do we wanna make the special projects 200, and then that'll. Or 250?
I don't have a
Sounds
calculator
good.
with me.
250.
I think that covers,
So that would be same then, so you will still be surplus like 19.
Yeah.
So we are adding 30 plus another, what, 20?
Right, so it might need to be,
50 off from there and add 50 back, you know?
$23 plus 30, so 53, right, is what, to get y'all is what you wanted? So maybe, and then that would, yeah, so. That's 3,000,
Special projects, just
16,315.
247, 250, does 250?
Yeah,
So we're gonna-
Make it even numbers.
make that last number.
16,315.
Because you're gonna take 50 off from there and you're
Right.
gonna add 30
315.
and then another 15
No,
for the special
22.
event.
So, you got that, Jill? Do you want my pretty paper?
She got it.
Okay.
She got it.
So, the cash available would be 16,315.
15.
All right. I need a motion. I need a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the budget for 2022.
And a second. Danielson.
Yes.
With the
With
edits.
edits.
With the edits, yes. We got eyes on us now. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank y'all very much for attending the February meeting.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everyone here to answer all questions.
It's all right.
We have a little
Done.
everyone here to answer questions, so that's good, everyone's available.
Thank you so much.
Is it still on good? I need to do a shout out to Jeremy.
A shout out.